Alone under a new moon. The shocking energy portal that will change everything in 2025. The sky hung over the town like a dark shroud, the new moon casting an eerie chill across Maplewood. All was still, except for an unsettling hum that echoed through the quiet streets. People said it was just the wind, but those who listened closely could feel it like a heartbeat, pulsing with anticipation. The chill in the air carried whispers of ancient secrets, and rumors ran wild. The energy portals were real, they said. Some claimed they saw strange lights flickering at the old Sullivan farm, where the land had been long abandoned. Others spoke of shadows flitting between the trees, casting odd reflections in the moonless night. In the depths of the forest, something was stirring, compelling and terrifying. It was said that on this very night, beneath the absence of the moon, the veil between worlds was the thinnest. Sarah Thompson stood at her window, heart racing as she felt an inexplicable pull, like gravity had shifted just for her. She had always felt different, a gnawing sense of being on the brink of something monumental. As she pressed her forehead against the cool glass, a flash of light darted across the darkened sky, leaving her breathless. Just then, the ground beneath her rumbled a low growl that sent shivers down her spine. The neighbors were stepping outside, squinting, pointing into the distance. "Did you see that?" someone shouted. A murmur rippled through the small crowd that gathered, intrigued and alarmed. Their eyes, wide with a mix of curiosity and fear, reflected the gleam of possibility. They had heard the stories too. Entire families had gone missing near these portals without a trace, leaving only shadows behind. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon, and while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As the hum grew louder, Sarah's chest tightened. She had to know what was happening. The shadows seemed to beckon her, pulling her away from the safety of her home. With trembling hands, she grabbed her jacket and stepped outside. The world around her distorted, as if she had crossed into another realm. The forest loomed before her, dark and inviting, hiding secrets that had been waiting an eternity. With every step that took her deeper into the wilderness, she felt the weight of what was to come, riding the fragile line between wonder and dread. Would this night mark the beginning of her destiny, or would it drag her into an abyss of darkness? The answer lay just beyond the next tree, and Sarah couldn't turn back now. The air thickened with an unshakable tension as Sarah pressed forward. Each step forward felt like a leap into the unknown. The hum that had enveloped Maplewood now roared through the forest, resonating within her very bones. The shadows danced around her feet, swirling like smoke in the wind, and for a moment, she questioned her sanity. Was this all just a trick of the dark? Suddenly, a flash illuminated the clearing ahead, bright enough to burn her vision. Sarah squinted, fear gripping her heart. She stumbled forward, the forest floor crunching beneath her feet. Her mind racing with the stories she had heard, the warnings from others who had dared to explore the whispers in the woods. Would she become another name added to the list of the missing, or would she see the truth whatever it might be? As Sarah approached the source of the light, her heartbeat quickened. It pulsated almost in rhythm with the hum that now felt alive, vibrating through the ground beneath her. The spectacle before her was beyond anything she could have imagined, a shimmering portal, its edges swirling with a kaleidoscope of colors, as if reality itself was bending. The air crackled with raw energy, snapping at her skin, and a voice echoed in her mind, drawing her closer, inviting her. But alongside the thrill of discovery was a chill in her gut, a voice deeper than any she had ever known, warning her to tread carefully. What lies beyond could change everything. It urged, and she paused, contemplating the choice before her. Would she dare to step through? Before she could answer, a rustling from behind caught her attention. Shadows slid between the trees, and her heart leaped as she turned. For figures emerged, faces pale and eyes wide with terror, frozen between fear and disbelief. They were neighbors, friends she had known her entire life. Each of them whispered frantic warning, but the urgency in their eyes spoke volumes. They could not see what she saw. They could not feel what she felt. "Sarah, get away from there," Amelia screamed, her voice torn with panic. "No," Sarah shouted back, clenching her fists. "You don't understand. It's beautiful. It's everything we've been looking for." The words tumbled from her lips, fueled by an instinct she never knew existed. The hum grew louder, drowning out Amelia's pleas, pulling Sarah deeper into its embrace. The figures behind her hesitated, exchanging glances that spoke of disbelief and fear. In that moment, Sarah saw the decision etched on their faces: to stay with the safety of the known or to risk it all for the mystery that beckoned. Suddenly, a dark shape darted between them, breaking the hold the portal had on her. The tension snapped as a wolf emerged from the thickets, its eyes glowing in the dim light, staring directly at her before letting out a howl that echoed through the trees. A warning or a challenge? Just then, the portal pulsed violently, as if responding to the wolf's call. Sarah's instincts cried out to retreat, but something within her still yearned to step through. The figures behind her gasped, their faces contorting with terror and shock. "Sarah, don't!" One of them cried out again, but the call was lost to the roar of the humming energy. The world spun and swirled, pulling her in with an intensity that left her breathless. Her mind raced. What awaited her on the other side? And as the wolf's howl echoed on, Sarah realized that her choices might lead not just her, but everyone she loved, into a nightmare from which they might never return. In the next moment, with the forest fading into a blur, she took a step forward. As she crossed the threshold, the very fabric of her reality trembled, and the last thing she heard was a chilling echo. The truth awaits. What awaited her beyond that glowing gateway? Would she find the answers she sought, or was it too late for everyone? The moment Sarah crossed the threshold, the world around her shattered into a kaleidoscope of light and sound. Vibrant colors spilled forth, as if the portal had unleashed a river of rainbows. Each hue danced and flickered, merging into hues she couldn't name. The air exploded with electric energy, vibrating through her bones so powerfully she stumbled, grasping for stability as reality twisted like a funhouse mirror. "Stay calm," she whispered to herself, but the words felt foolish against the chaotic backdrop. There were no familiar sounds, no chirping crickets or rustling leaves. Only an ethereal hum enveloped her, a siren's song that tugged at her spirit. With every heartbeat, she felt the pull deeper within, drawing her forward even as doubts threatened to take hold. As the swirling light dimmed, she opened her eyes, finding herself in an otherworldly landscape. A sky bathed in a brilliant violet loomed above, peppered with stars that shimmered like diamonds. Yet the ground was a stark, obsidian black that glistened underfoot, almost liquid-like. It felt softer than earth and emitted a gentle warmth that wrapped around her. Were she not lost in such madness, she might have marveled at its beauty. But then, shadows began to emerge on the edge of her vision. Figures formed from the darkness, creeping closer with an unsettling silence. Sarah's heart raced. Instinctively, she stepped back, her breath quickening. They were shapes indistinct, yet their presence sent chills racing down her spine. Each movement sent ripples through the air, as if they were woven into the fabric of this new world. "Who are you?" she managed to call, her voice trembling. The figures halted, their features shrouded in darkness, and a low murmur seemed to rise from them, an echo of thoughts rather than actual speech, flooding her mind with uncertainty. What were they? Out of the stillness, one stepped forward, its form becoming clearer. A face appeared, pale and luminescent, with eyes that burned like stars. Sarah felt her breath hitch. A mixture of curiosity and terror ignited something deep within her. The stranger lifted a hand, and the shadows withdrew not in fear, but in respect. "Welcome, seeker of truth," the figure spoke, voice smooth and profound. "You have crossed into the realm of possibilities. The power to unfold the future lies within you. Her heart thudded loudly, reverberating through the stillness. What do you mean? She stammered, grappling with the weight of realization that she had volunteered for something far beyond her comprehension. There was no backing out now. Choices shape destinies, they continued. You wish to know the secrets that Maplewood hides. The portal has chosen you to see the truth. But knowledge demands a price. What kind of price? Panic fluttered in her chest, a feeling both foreign and familiar. Each heartbeat echoed a warning. This was not simply a game. This felt real and consequential. The figure gestured around them, and images burst into life with vivid intensity. Scenes flickered, showing rivers of time flowing, lives intertwining, choices diverging like branches on a treacherous path. Every choice you make from this moment forward will not only affect you but those you hold dear. What? No, Sarah cried, taking a step back. The dark figures loomed, engulfing her vision. What if I choose wrong? Silence blanketed the air as their eyes glistened, piercing through her. A deep, reverberating laugh escaped the mouths formed in shadows, vibrating through her very soul. That is your burden to bear. Suddenly, the weight of the world crashed down. Sarah felt the ground quake beneath her feet. As chaos swallowed the brilliant sky, a scream escaped her lips, drowned out by a thunderous roar. The shadows surged forward, pulling, pushing as if urging her back. The universe trembled with anticipation, waiting for her decision. Would she dare to probe further into the unknown, or would she retreat, choosing the safety of the life she once knew? In her gut, she understood. The moment of truth was at hand. Would she find the answers to the questions burning in her heart? Or would she stumble into a realm where no one, not even she, could escape? With hesitation, she took a breath. Either way, it was time to confront the dark truth hidden within the shadows. The moment the world around her exploded into chaos, everything within Sarah began to unravel. The shadows coalesced, swirling like a dark storm, threatening to consume her whole. She squeezed her eyes shut, desperately trying to separate herself from the vortex of fear. Make a choice! The ethereal voice boomed, reverberating through the air. It wasn't just a command. It was a summons that clutched at her very essence. Taking a step out of instinct rather than logic, she stumbled forward, and the shadows receded slightly, Asif penned in by her resolve. That was it. This was her survival instinct kicking in. She couldn't turn back. Not now. What if I choose wrong? She shouted into the maelstrom. Each choice shapes your destiny. Choose wisely. They echoed this line to her repeatedly, their tone holding a mocking edge that made her gut twist. A vision pierced through the chaos, snapping into focus. She saw Maplewood, her town, but it transformed, twisted in unnatural hues. Friends, neighbors, even familiar streets warped under a cloak of darkness, whispering secrets of betrayal and loss. A few figures seemed lifeless, their souls dulled, all faded into the background of a growing dread. Enough! She screamed, arms stretched forward, willing the shadows back. I want to see the truth. Just show me. Instantly, the shadows froze, and the tableau morphed again. The air thickened with a tense silence as the vision shifted. Figures of people she loved glimmered into view, frozen in vulnerable moments. Her mother, eyes filled with despair. Her best friend, a darkened expression, foreboding. Choose the path. The figures urged her, frustration evident in their silent pleas. You have the power within you, but your choice will determine their fates. It hit her then. The weight of responsibility was overwhelming. She felt like a marionette tangled in her own strings, torn between love for her family and the fear of what danger her decision might unleash upon them. It was maddening. The ominous dark started seeping closer again, sensing her hesitation, pressing in like cold mist, ready to wrap around her heart and squeeze. Time is running out. A whisper sounded from all sides, echoing her mounting anxiety. Choose. The darkness surged like a tide, a palpable force. Which fate do I choose? Sarah's voice trembled. How am I supposed to know? In that instant, Glimmers of light sparked before her glimpses of potential futures. Each light flickered with an urgency of its own, demanding attention. One showed her in a familiar place, Maplewood vibrant and warm, where laughter echoed. Another bloomed dark, shadows lingering as people moved with vacant gazes, haunted by the weight of their choices. Courage surged through her, fierce and raw. She couldn't let fear dictate her action, not when the lives of those she loved hung in the balance. She reached out toward the vibrant light, heart racing, determined to grasp whatever glimpse of hope this world offered. Just then, a tremor shot through the ground. The luminous vision flickered, threatening to vanish. "No, don't take it away," she yelled, clenching her fists, panic rising as the shadows howled. An angry wind swirling around her, echoing her fears. "Choose or lose it all," the figures chanted in unison, a haunting chorus that struck deep into her core. With a final desperate breath, Sarah hurled herself forward, hand outstretched, ready to embrace the light, the only thing that could save her. And then everything shattered again. In the sharp silence that followed, reality folded into layers, twisting and falling, leaving Sarah to grapple with the crushing uncertainty of what lay ahead, the choice hanging like an unnecessary burden on her shoulders. But as the shadows quivered around her, she felt an invitation to uncover deeper secrets, hidden truths waiting to be revealed on the edge of the unknown. The darkness beckoned once more, and she was caught in the tangled web of destiny and choice, where the thrill of discovery shimmered tantalizingly in the distance. Would she dare to uncover more, knowing full well that unfurling these truths could unleash horrifying consequences? The journey had only just begun, and with it came the revelation that choices can be more than mere steps. They can be abrupt turns into the depths of despair or towards unimaginable freedom. The air crackled around Sarah as she landed on solid ground, but the familiar pull of reality felt different. Her surroundings shifted again, blurring the edges of her vision. Maplewood, once vibrant and full of life, lay before her now as a ghost of its former self. The familiar houses stood unchanged, yet the atmosphere was heavy, as though they were trapped in an everlasting twilight. "Where am I?" she mumbled, glancing at her surroundings, spotting the worn swing set in the park where she had laughed with friends. The swing moved gently, yet no wind touched it. A chill ran down her spine. Something wasn't right. "Sarah," a voice echoed from the depths of the park. It was a whisper of familiarity, tinged with urgency. The voice wove through the air, pulling her closer to the shadowy recesses of towering trees. She stepped forward, heart pounding in her chest, each beat matching her stride as fear intermingled with hope. A figure emerged from the thickening dusk, a silhouette like a memory. It was her mother, though she appeared distant, her face painted with worry. "You have to listen. They're coming." Her voice trembled, yet carried a weight that began to settle into Sarah's bones. Who's coming? Panic surged within her. What threat could possibly loom over this place she once loved? "Mom, what do I need to do?" A dark mist started curling around her mother's feet, swallowing the soft green grass. Sarah's stomach twisted as shadows spiraled upward. "You can't back away. The truth will either save us or destroy everything." Suddenly, memories flooded back, memories of her mother's laughter, their late-night talks, and the feel of her hand in hers. But beneath these glimpses of joy lingered shadows of doubt. What had been hidden from her? Why the urgency, the fear? "Make your choice." The command rang out like a bell tolling in the fog, echoing relentlessly. With every repetition, Sarah felt the ground shake, felt the weight of impending loss pressing against her chest as her eyes darted around. She saw the other figures, the faces of those she loved entwined with flickering shadows. They floated in and out of focus, each one casting a haunting gaze. Her friends, her neighbors, they were all watching her, each waiting for her decision. "Choose the light, Sarah," her mother urged, her voice breaking through the tension. "Let it guide you. It's your only hope." But how could she choose? The vibrant light shimmered, and yet the shadows whispered sinister secrets, each one entangled with a truth that made her stomach churn. What horrors might lie in the light? What consequences would she unleash? Sarah hesitated, caught in a vice of indecision. Would stepping into the light mean her mother would be safe? Or would it lead to a fate worse than the darkness? Every moment counts, a chorus whispered around her, rising in crescendo, urging her to act before the shadows consumed them all. With a shuddering breath, Sarah reached for the light, her heart racing anew. She could feel the warmth against her skin, yet the darkness hissed behind her, "Choose and you shall know the truth." But each truth bears a burden. In one agonizing moment, just as she stepped forward into the glow, everything around her erupted again. But this time, the explosion was visceral, vibrating through her body and sending jolts of energy spiraling as she was thrown into an infinite void. When the world settled again, she found herself alone in a different space, the silhouette of her mother fading like a cigarette smoke, elusive and frustrating. Only one thought pulsed in her mind. What now? What truth awaited her? But before any answer could unfold, Sarah sensed movement in the shadows, lurking just beyond her line of sight, shadows clamoring in protest, desperate to claim her fate. The question lingered heavy in the air: was she ready to confront the darkness and evade its grasp once more? With her pulse racing and the silence deafening, she stood at the precipice of discovery, listening for the whispers that could point her toward salvation or doom. Would she dive into the shadows, or attempt to navigate through the light? Her choice was only beginning to unravel, and the repercussions were about to spiral far beyond her wildest fears. Sarah's breath caught, the air around her dense with unresolved tension. She was enveloped by an otherworldly hush, the kind that presses against your ears, making the silence deafening. The shadows pulsated, twisting and writhing like restless spirits eager to break free. With a deep, shuddering inhale, she took a tentative step toward the dark mass. The pulsing shadows felt oddly familiar, beckoning her like pieces of a puzzle that had been missing for far too long. "What do you want from me?" she whispered, hoping for an answer, but only silence replied. Suddenly, a flicker of movement drew her gaze. From the depths of the dark came the sounds of soft whispers, layered voices layered with desperation. They teased her ears, sending shivers down her spine, coaxing her to listen. "Sarah." It was a pain-tinged call from the shadows. "Who's there?" Panic surged like a stun gun, her heart thudding in jagged rhythm. "You must remember, child," the voices sung, a haunting melody that mingled with the shadows. "The truth is never free. It always demands a price." A pulse of light sputtered to life before her, revealing fragmented images of her past. Faces she recognized but didn't fully grasp. Moments she thought she'd buried deep. It was all happening again, just as her mother had said. "You can't back away this time." The weight of those words pressed down on her chest, each syllable anchoring her in place. That brilliant flicker. Sarah saw herself a younger version full of dreams and innocence. She watched as the child laughed with friends, spun in dizzy circles, and danced under the sun. Then came the shadows, creeping in like a tide, dragging the laughter away. With every passing second in the light, memories transformed. They twisted and combined into a chilling tapestry of betrayal and loss. A friend's betrayal, a long-held secret, the night she thought she lost her mother forever. No, she staggered back, the realization like a punch to her gut. These weren't just shadows. They were fragments of her own reality, her failures and regrets made manifest. "What is this? Why now? Why me?" "Because you are the key," came the answer, more forceful now. "You have a choice that can break this cycle. But it will demand a sacrifice." The darkness swirled rapidly, angered by her hesitance. The air thickened, and she could feel the pain of her choices pressing in like a vice. "I don't want to choose." This was not what she wanted. She felt trapped, as though her own past was designed to torment her, and she was too weak to escape its grasp. "Fight or surrender," a voice roared from within the shadows, reverberating through her. "The choice is yours, but time is running out." Just then, the ground quaked beneath her. Roots burst through the earth, entwining around her feet, and she felt the tug of the dark path. It offered incredible power, or the complete obliteration of everything she loved. The shadows hissed eagerly, promising gain, revenge, and a rush of untamed energy. Gritting her teeth, she remembered her mother's face, the urgency etched in her eyes. Choose the light, it's your only hope. But was it? What if the light merely led her to another pitfall, another deception? Make your choice, the chorus of shadows whispered, a siren song pulling her deeper into despair. There it was again, that flickering light, tempting her with warmth and hope, while twisting shadows promised dark truths. She struggled, torn between two worlds, two possibilities. Suddenly, the light began to fade, and in that chilling moment of indecision, a scream erupted from the depths around her, echoing through the void. Sarah. The scream was familiar, almost comforting, yet filled with terror. Just as the shadows lunged toward her with a hunger she could feel, she made her decision. Would she rise to meet it, or let the darkness engulf her completely? As clarity pierced the chaos, she stretched her hand out toward the light, but before she could break through, the scream crescendoed, merging with the shadows, becoming a clamoring cacophony of fear and regret. Sarah, it's time to choose. The moment hung suspended, weighted with both fear and undeniable truth. As the darkness closed in, she braced herself for whatever came next, knowing the answer lay just beyond her reach. What was she willing to lose? What would she fight for? The darkness was hungry, and the truth was lurking in the light. Yet as her hand neared the glow, she saw something flicker behind the mist, something terrifyingly familiar that could change everything, something she had to confront before it was too late. Could Sarah face it? Would she find liberation in a choice that could either save or doom her forever? The moment her hand reached for the light, it flared brilliantly, illuminating every corner of the suffocating darkness. Sarah's heart raced, caught in the tumult of fear and hope. But the scream, it echoed in her mind, blurring the boundaries of her desires. That blinding brightness. She caught a glimpse of a figure in the shadows, a silhouette so familiar it nearly stopped her heart. The face was veiled in darkness, yet it resonated deep within her soul. Mom? She whispered, the name escaping her lips like a prayer. Sarah, please listen to me. The figure stepped closer, and with each movement, the shadows writhed with anger, desperate to pull her back. You don't have much time. You must choose before they drag you down. Why are you here? What do you want? Panic set in, stinging her throat. The stakes felt impossibly high, each moment stretching out like an eternity. I'm here to guide you. Remember what I said, light always battles darkness. But it comes with sacrifice. The shadows writhed restlessly. Leave her be, they howled, their voices an unsettling blend of fury and sorrow. You can't save her from the truth. The light is a lie. I faced the light before. I know its warmth, and I know what it costs. Sarah shouted back, steadying herself. But I also want to believe in something better. The light pulsed in response, powerful but flickering, as if uncertain. All she had to do was reach deeper, embrace it. But with that came the anxiety of what she could lose. The darkness, so tempting and inviting, promised strength and the ability to rewrite her past. Choose the shadows, and all will be revealed. The murmur caressed her skin. A serpentine promise wrapped in false security. Remember the betrayal, the pain. Use it to gain power. The choice is yours to make. No, she responded, her voice rising. I refuse to become what I feared most. The moment echoed with her defiance, igniting a reaction. The ground quaked violently, as fragments of her memories erupted from the shadows. She saw shattered friendships, horrifying arguments, and heartbreak she thought she healed. With each image, the darkness clawed at her, desperate to reclaim her, furious at her resistance. Let go of the past. The familiar voice tried to pierce through the chaos. Do it for your future. With renewed determination, Sarah took another step toward the light. I choose hope. I choose to set myself free. As her fingers grazed the edge of the light, it surged forward in a breathtaking wave, illuminating the shadows. At that moment, the darkness wailed, a terrible sound that echoed with grief and loss. The swirling mass began to retract back, paled by the luminescence. But just as victory tasted almost sweet, she felt it, a jarring sensation at her core, a pull that dragged her back toward the shadows. The dark wasn't finished with her yet. In its last desperate ploy, it revealed a hidden truth, a shock that would make her heart freeze. Sarah, you don't know everything. What you're about to lose is more significant than you imagine. And before her, a door to the unknown opened, revealing a slick void, a black hole ready to swallow the world whole. She hesitated, torn between the clarity of the light and the dark echoes of her truth. A single thought pierced her mind. What if behind that void lay answers to secrets she had never known? What if the cost of her decision meant risking not just herself, but everyone she loved? Time stretched thin as the light flickered ominously, and a decision loomed overhead like a storm cloud threatening to unleash its fury. Sarah. The voice of her mother filled the air, desperate and raw. Make your choice. What would she say? Would she plunge into the darkness, seeking the truth she was meant to find? Or would she summon the courage to step fully into the light, embracing whatever was ahead? The shadows writhed menacingly, and the abyss called her name. As terror and resolve battled within her, she took a deep breath and prepared to either face the void or emerge into the blinding light, never knowing the weight of her choice. Would echo through time what lay waiting for her as she stood on the precipice? Would she uncover the truth hidden in the dark, or would the darkness devour her hopes entirely? The pressure surged within her as she stood teetering on that edge, the whispers of the shadows drumming in her ears. She didn't want to think of what awaited her in the darkness. But the allure was undeniable, a curiosity mixed with fear, promising revelations she never dared to want. Yet, her mother's voice pulled at her heart, a lifeline woven through the chaos. You have the strength. Trust yourself. With a shaky breath, Sarah clenched her fists, eyes fixed on that dreadful void. The darkness roared, swallowing the remnants of her courage, but suddenly, a surge of warmth erupted from the light. It wrapped around her, offering comfort like a mother's embrace. Mom, she gasped, feeling the blossoming love break through her fear. Choose the light, Sarah. There's more to this than you realize. She felt a weight lift from her chest, but the shadows lashed out, desperate to keep her. They whispered chilling truths, their voices rising like a storm. You're running from your fate. What if there's no safety in the light? Everything has a price. Sarah, don't believe them. Her mother's voice cut through the cacophony. Find the courage to fight back. This was it. Heart racing like an unbridled horse, Sarah brought her hands toward the glowing heart of the light. But just as the warmth enveloped her, a dark tendril shot out, wrapping around her wrist with a searing sensation that made her scream. Sarah. The shadows hissed. Join us. You'll never be alone again. The tug-of-war raged inside her. But the moment she thought she might break, images flooded her mind, her childhood. Laughter, shared moments and solid friendships. The beauty of love, lightened by struggle. The warmth of her mother flooding her soul, a beacon against the encroaching black. I want to remember, I want it all, she shouted into the void. The darkness seemed to shriek, pulling tighter, but she wouldn't relent. With every ounce of willpower, she thrust her arm into the light, determined to draw its power deep into her heart. The energy erupted, sending waves crashing through the shadows, disorienting them. The howling voices faded into panicked murmurs, unsure of what to do with her escalating strength. You've made a grave mistake, they screeched, their hold loosening, but the chaos around her intensified. The light was blinding now, dazzling and vibrant, glimmering with every emotion she felt. Fear, hope, anger, love. In that moment of pure clarity, the shadows began to dissipate, unraveling like threads in a fraying tapestry. Sarah felt their anger and regret crashing against her resolve, but she fought back. This was her truth, her choice. And then, from the dissipating shadows, a silhouette emerged, dark and ghostly yet achingly familiar. You think you can escape me? It sneered, malevolent energy swirling around it. Who are you? Sarah shouted, her voice tremulous yet firm. I am the darkness inside you, the pain you refuse to acknowledge. That voice, piercing and cold, felt like a punch to her gut, each word reverberating through her being. The echoes of her past rose again, full of betrayal and disappointment. But with a powerful breath, Sarah countered, "No, I will not be defined by my pain. I choose light. I choose hope." The pulse of energy crashed around her, and in that moment, as the shadows writhed and screamed in defeat, she felt the ground beneath her begin to shake a final surge before the rupture. Then, the darkness collapsed, folding in on itself. But as it faded, Sarah felt something shift within her. A portal vivid and shimmering opened just beyond the light. It throbbed with potential, inviting, beckoning her forward. What lay within that new gateway? Was it a way to finally unveil the truth about everything she had lost? As the last echoes of darkness faded, she solidified her footing, eyes locked on the portal. She was done running. "Mom, I'm coming," she exclaimed, heart pounding wildly as she took her first step toward that new reality, ready to confront whatever lay beyond. But as she crossed the threshold, a chilling realization washed over her. What if the knowledge inside could not only change her but would also shatter everything she thought she knew about her past and her family? Tremors of uncertainty washed over her, churning in her stomach. Would the truth empower her or destroy everything? The moment Sarah stepped through the portal, she was enveloped in a whirlwind of sensations. Light pulsed and undulated around her, flickering like a heart that's both alive and uncertain. She felt weightless, as if gravity had no hold, and for an instant, she thought she might float away. But then her feet landed with a thud on solid ground, and the dazzling light began to fade, revealing her surroundings. She blinked against the sudden dimness, taking in her new reality. She stood in a vast expanse that appeared to be an endless field of shimmering lavender grass swaying softly under a twilight sky. Above her, stars began to flicker to life like a distant promise. But what caught her breath was the figure standing at the horizon, a shadowy silhouette silently watching her. "Hello, Sarah," the figure called out, voice smooth and compelling, drawing her closer against her better judgment. "Welcome to the in-between." The air thickened with tension. "Who are you?" she demanded, clenching her fists at her sides, bracing for any trickery. "I am a guide among many things," it replied, still shrouded in darkness. "You've challenged the darkness, but now you must confront what you truly seek. The truth awaits, and it will not be gentle." Sarah felt a sudden jolt of fear mixed with an invigorating thrill. There it was again, the truth she had longed for. But buried beneath her desire was doubt, gnawing at her insides. What kind of truth could this being offer? Was it worth the risk? "What does that mean?" she pressed, her stomach tightening. The figure took a step, a fingertip brushing the ground, and the soil glimmered with strange energy. "Every choice comes with a cost, my dear. Are you willing to pay it? Is pain the cost?" She shot back, her voice trembling. "Is it worth losing everything I cherish?" It chuckled softly, echoing through the quiet. "The loss you fear might lead to the freedom you crave. But the road will cut deep, leaving scars that may never heal. Will you endure?" Sarah's breath caught in her throat. The moment she'd stepped out of the shadows had been liberating, but now the weight of possibilities loomed larger than before. She thought back to her mother, the lessons that echoed in her heart, lessons of strength, resilience, and unwavering hope. "I'll face it. I'll confront whatever comes my way," she declared, heart pounding, emboldened by her conviction. "Very well," the figure said, stepping aside as if granting permission to a sacred space. "Step further, and all shall be revealed." Cautiously, she moved forward, not knowing what awaited her. Each step felt surreal, like she was walking through a dream. Suddenly, visions crashed around her. Moments from her past, familiar faces smiling, intertwining with shadows of painful memories. Sweet laughter blended with cries of anger and despair. Images blurred, leaving her dizzy. Yet amidst the chaos, a clarity flooded through. "Sarah, you're doing this," a voice cried out, one she recognized. It was her mother, radiant despite the shadows. "Whatever you find, you can handle it." A wave of reassurance washed over her, but it was soon followed by a darker echo, slicing through her thoughts. "Can you really? Who said that? She shouted, alarmed at the whispers crawling through her mind. Those who know the truth. As the visions cleared, something shifted, and she found herself staring into a mirror-like pool at her feet. The surface rippled, reflecting not her face, but a fractured version of her life, everything she'd run from. Look closely, said the figure. What do you see? She knelt, heart pounding, and the reflections began to tell a story, pulling her deeper into the depths of her own journey. With each heartbeat, the fear inside her swelled, drowning her in a tempest of uncertainty. Would she survive this new truth, or would she be lost to the shadows forever? Sarah, the voice taunted, ready or not. The answers will shatter every reality you know, and in that moment, as the reflections began to reveal something unthinkable, she felt a chilling realization cement within. The true cost of her journey was far greater than she had anticipated, a price that could change not only her fate but the fate of all she loved. As the visions twisted around her, she was left gasping, clutching at the ground, desperately seeking solid ground amid the swirling chaos. What had she truly awakened? The figure watched silently, and with one final glance toward the broken reflections, Sarah whispered, "What if I can't handle what's coming?" The figure only smiled, a thin line of shadows weaving laughter at the edge of its lips. "Are you sure you want to find out?" The brightness of the mirror-like pool shimmered steadily in front of Sarah. It felt like an abyss made of light, hinting at deep, buried truths she had only begun to grasp. Her heart thundered in her chest, an echoing drum of anxiety and determination. In that stillness, the world around her seemed to hold its breath. Face it all, her mind screamed. She forced herself to peer into the pool once more, and images swirled. Her friends' each face twisted with emotions: betrayal, fear, and sadness. They whispered, their voices coiling around her like vines. "You abandoned us, you don't know the mess you've left behind." What had she done? Her heart sank, the guilt pulling her deeper into despair. Sarah, her mother's voice cut through the chaos, clear and soothing. "You can change this. You have the power." Her breath caught. The warmth amidst the shadows ignited something inside her. That power, the power to change not only her fate but the fates of everyone she loved. Each fragmented memory collided with another: her laughter with friends, whispers shared under blankets, moments when they had brought warmth to her heart. Those were the memories worth fighting for. "Make your choice, Sarah." She could feel the shadows closing in again, fangs bared, ready to consume her if she faltered. "This is your moment. You have to fight." With every ounce of courage, she reached for the pool, fingers grazing its smooth surface. The images surged back to life, familiar voices rang loudly now, calling from all directions. "Choose us, Sarah. Save us." "I will," she yelled back, casting aside her fear. The reflections began to blur, ripping her from complacency. The shadows howled as they saw her resolve. The ghostly figure watched, its smile wavering as its power waned. "You really think you can defeat the darkness within?" "I don't just think, I know," Sarah screamed, thrusting her hand into the pool as bright light exploded outward, filling the air with warmth. Suddenly, she felt herself pulled into a whirlwind of memories, each one sharper than the last. Painful truths flew at her like arrows, but rather than faltering, she caught them, recognizing them as parts of herself she had neglected. She was not just facing the shadows of others, but the darkest corners of her own heart. A voice emerged from the chaos. "You are stronger than you think, Sarah." It was herself, a reflection of who she could be. The clarity hit her like a tidal wave. "I choose to confront the truth. I choose to make things right." As she spoke, the brilliant light erupted from the pool, sending arrogant shadows scattering, howling in despair. The luminosity grew, enveloping everything, a cocoon of hope and resilience. In that moment of unity with her heart, she sensed the shadows shifting further away. They screamed, fading into nothingness as she stepped out, embracing the warmth of her decision. When the light settled, Sarah found herself back in the field of lavender grass, but this time, it radiated vibrancy. The shadowy figure had evaporated, replaced by the ethereal glow around her. The world felt balanced, emboldened by her choice. "Mom?" she called out, voice barely above a whisper but deep down. She knew her mother was closer than ever. "Sarah." And in the shimmering twilight sky, she saw her mother materializing radiant and real. She rushed forward to embrace her, warmth flooding through them. "You did it. You faced the darkness." "I had to for all of us," Sarah replied, tears streaming down her cheeks, buoyed by a sense of lightness she hadn't known until this moment. "Now we can rebuild together," her mother said, smiling. "The shadows may come back, but now you're stronger. You've learned that truths might cut deep, but they also forge bonds of love and understanding. Always remember that." As they stepped away from the chaos behind them, the townsfolk appeared a mix of fear and relief on their faces. Many had stood at doorsteps and asked about the shadows that reeked of dread. But now, they gathered to embrace Sarah and her mother, bringing them warmth and companionship. Sarah stepped into Maplewood, reassurance and hope filling the air around her. The energy of the place snapped back to life. The birds sang, and laughter swirled around like leaves in a joyful breeze. She turned, glancing back at the forest. "If I could conquer my shadows, so can they." As Sarah walked hand in hand with her mother, she carried a fire in her heart. This battle was only the beginning, and their stories, each vibrant and meaningful, would intertwine, illuminating the path forward. And with that fervent hope pulsating through the town, it was clear, while shadows might always lurk, their brightness would forever glow brighter. Now, as you read this conclusion, don't just sit back, take action. This is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now, or you'll miss the next exclusive stories that will leave you breathless. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. It's crucial. And flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this ending. We want to hear from every single one of you. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. They will thank you, and you'll be part of this incredible community. Let us spread the light together.